Meet these crabs of the species Plan S-. They live in the northern part of the Atlantic Ocean and are characterized by a very small size. Usually their length is not exceeds 10 mm. Naturally, with such, the appearance of the person is not particularly long. You swim. The crab only lasts for 45 minutes at a water temperature of 28 degrees Celsius, and after that it sinks in. The total crab had to find another way to travel. He decided to catch. By the way, these crabs are building their homes on the everything that floats on the hull: logs, ships, plastic, trash, and even on the sea turtles. Option with turtles, special, interesting because crabs hide in the small area between tail and shell. In 80% of the turtle loggerheads were found to be roommates, so maybe it's better to just get the crabs from there. If it used to be believed that crabs eat turtles, then now scientists are sure the tiny animals perform a cleansing function, which means they don't do anything bad. Moreover, under the turtle's tail, just enough room for it to be able to settle a couple of crabs in love. Then they find a partner, turtle's ass, and live there happily, mating and reproducing like this. Love nest under the tail. Tuck A. This is where we'll put the chair and hang curtains. Can you keep your voice down? Then Steve and I thought that such a behaviors must surely be some scientific name for the scientists of the love to give everything a name, and we turned out to be right. Between two living organisms in which one organism benefits from of another without harming him. Benefit can consist of anything, for example, in shelter or in food and occasions. There is really a lot of commensalism in nature, and, for some reason, it is often associated with the rear part of creatures. So fish and families, carapaces, which are very different from the thin, scaly body, often are taken into the body cavities of invertebrates, such as oyster clams and marine stars, and some inhabit exclusively in the anuses of sea cucumbers. As soon as such a fish stumbles on a marine cucumber, she finds his anus is. It's not hard just to follow the stream of water that is ejected through the anus. Discovering it, the fish penetrates inside and doesn't want to come out anymore. Usually on the one sea cucumber is one fish, rarely pair, but in 1977, researcher found an entire dormitory, 15 the fish inside the unfortunate sea cucumber, 15 pieces. Unfortunately or fortunately, we do not. We know for sure that sea cucumbers feel when the carapace decides use them as a home. However, they look alike, and the excitement of it is clear that express their dissatisfaction aloud to the maritime cucumbers. Can't just do nothing but know that sometimes sea cucumbers try to block their anuses so that no one, not in, but they need to anyway, to breathe. So the carapace just stick them in the holes and wait until the sea cucumber will take a breath, and then the fish can easily get in. But the interesting thing is that some sea cucumbers are quite toxic, and it is completely a normal way to protect yourself from predators. Most of them simply won't eat creature that can poison. Here, only against carapace, no toxin, it won't work. The fish are just bred. Immunity is most likely due to mucus, which covers their body. In short, if they see an unoccupied sea cucumber they are in, they'll get in and nothing can stop them. Compared to this behavior, starlings, who sleep in the armpits of giraffes, lead themselves very culturally at all. What birds during the day like to sit on large African mammals have long been. It's no secret buffalo giraffes can birds will suit anyone if in animal hair will suffice. Tasty parasites like mites. But the fact that yellow-billed buffalo starlings also sleep on their masters has become known. Only recently they are choosing a place to. I'm more comfortable between my legs, too, or on the belly. Yes, luckily not with giraffes. Happens the same way as with marine cucumbers, and starlings are not trying to penetrate deeper is quite enough for them. Armpits. Partly this choice of overnight stay is associated with reserving for mammals, and don't look for every day someone new just to eat. In such a case, spend the night at the selected giraffe. The ideal strategy, sometimes in the armpits of one animal, can accumulate up to 7 starlings. Ticklingly, scientists have not yet succeeded in doing so. Find out. But give them some time, because this is the first study of its kind. The behavior of birds at night is usually they are only observed during the day by birds in general, are pretty damn good as far as of commensalism and observation. Let's take, for example, the rainforests of the Central and South America are inhabited by nomadic ants, and if you have already watched our videos, you probably already know that many insects and small animals try to stay away from ants as you can go on, so that as soon as the ants begin to move there, potential victims are getting off the ground in a hurry to get out of the way. Noticed birds and pretty quickly realize that if follow the nomadic ants can find a lot of food, and some species didn't just realize it and use over millions of years of evolution. They are so used to eating next to the key ants that completely have lost the ability to forage for food in any way. In other ways, pretty interesting, because the ants can actually kill birds that feed at their expense. To the ants in principle, no matter who you have, however, the benefit for birds seem to be much more serious than the risk, deaths, since they got out to keep an eye on ants and scored for independence. At the same time, other birds participate in commentary, so to speak, with the reverse. The sides of their services are used by lizards. Tuatars are cute reptiles who live only in New Zealand. Like many of the tuatar endemics, need, in compliance with rather strict conditions, to thrive. So for a comfortable, the tuatar's body temperature should be between 15 and 21 degrees Celsius. The temperature in the forests in which they live at night can go down, is much lower, so the next day the animals have to keep warm. Is one way to do it, to bask in the sun, but it's a slow process. So the tuatars, they have come up with something better. At night in the burrows that they set up, snowy whale birds with a tuatar. It does not matter at all whether the owners of the burrow are at home or not. Perhaps they are even warmer with birds. The study showed that the night spent in the burrow allows the reptiles to raise the body temperature faster during the day, and so the flora appears in this way. Get more time to search for food, researchers grow faster, reproduce more actively, and become more successful than their homeless counterparts. But one of the most famous examples, commercialism, is associated with jackals and tigers. If you have read the Book of the Jungle, you must remember Kipling's The Jackal, Tobacco, who followed everywhere he went, Shere Khan. And this is not the writer's fiction. Lonely jackals banished from their pack enter into a commercial relationship with tigers. The jackal chooses a tiger for himself and is attached to it, starting to follow behind the predator at a safe distance to feed on other people's prey. The jackal board can warn games about danger with a loud shout, but it is not necessarily usually. Tigers just tolerate such satellites, allowing them to be in the vicinity and do not exhibit any aggression. Moreover, there is a known case of when other tigers didn't touch the jackal, who was a companion of one of them. And here I thought that our video seems to be not enough spiders, since ants are already mentioned, but you have to go in from afar. Most spiders throw out their webs only from the glands at their rear ends, but a spider of the genus Cetz is an exception. He can also shoot cobwebs from his mouth, and does so with great force, and impregnates the threads with poison, so that not only immobilize the victim but also immediately poison. Sounds scary. Even other spiders are wary of their spitters, of their brethren, especially since spiders are often the sight's prey on the little spiders Philophytensis, and even settle directly over them and catch the victim as soon as the victim leaves the house. Sometimes the sight even knocks paws on the nest of their prey in order to check if anyone is home, and that's it. The little spider is not completely defenseless, because he knows what commensalism is. Cytots don't like Asian people so damn much, ants of tailors, because it is part of their menus, and try to avoid these ants by any means available. Even branded spit does not work. It will immobilize a couple of individuals, but not all of them. Group of ants. A means a spitting spider, doomed, Philophytensis. It is understood, small spiders settle next to ants' tailor so that the ants was visible, or at least present, in there. The smell of it all grabs the spitting predator. Never go anywhere near the dangerous opponents. The little spider will be in, and the ants themselves, what are they, not even aware that someone there uses them for protection, simply live his ant life. And now, imagine that you are an imperial shrimp, despite the majestic title, into a very small creature who finds it difficult to travel by long distances because all the asses turtles are already occupied by crabs. You need to look for some alternative way. The movement died underwater doesn't work, so you have to use the services of the sea slug, especially imperial shrimps like slugs, known as Spanish dancers, and sometimes travel on them too. Slug is toxic to many creatures, so its predators avoid it as well as bypass shrimp. In addition, shrimp sometimes eat foods of the slug's life activity. We can say that lunch is included in the price of the trip. Shrimp can stay for a long time with the same slug, but if she suddenly finds a good place to feeding, he can get off his back and snack well. When the shrimp gets full and realizes that she is ready to go again, on the way he jumps on the back of the other one, the slug, and drives on. And lastly, I would like to tell you about the nicest case of commercialism in nature, in my opinion. Of course, talk about butterflies as about many other living things, creatures. They need to come from somewhere. Getting sodium flowers in this matter does not help the butterflies in any way. We have to look for alternatives. Source: some species of butterflies dive for sodium in feces, others find it in mud, and the third prefers tears. Is maybe tears of turtles, although turtles not particularly thrilled or in tears. Crocodiles are ideal because they tend to fall into stupor, that is to say, to lower one's metabolism, and lie still for long periods of time. Shorter at butterflies plenty of time to get sodium. However, they also pay attention to on the birds, although it happens much less often at night, precisely at night, because then the birds just fall into similar stupor due to a drop in temperature bodies and do not interfere with butterflies. Is worth saying that this way of not sodium is not characteristic of only for butterflies. Do the same thing moths and even bees and tear animals have to just come to terms with the principle is that, so far, the insects do not bring any, there is no harm or benefit to doing anything. That's how commercialism works. Till next time.